Alright, hello everyone. We are back for hole number 5. I'm going to make sure that I have the clubs the way that I want them. And if you saw my other hole, I did get this one from the right hand side. I think we're going to play a little bit similarly. You can see my clubs are a little bit more advanced in this account, so I'm going to show you another successful pro attempt here. I really don't need, so one of the beautiful things, especially when we're talking about balls like clubs like quarterback, is it has very high curl. So having that very high curl actually comes in very useful when we go to the tee shots, because we can curl it and don't need to utilize that side spin. So you can see me switch from a katana, which because I might use, I might like to have that side spin, and I switch to a navigator to have the same wind resistance, but similar curl. So what I usually do is I back off the top spin first off. I'll only use, and next I try to size up the shot. So, visualizing that it's going to go about, 6 rings down at least on this. Keep in mind, I'm going to go very close to the middle of the fairway here, very similarly to what I did on my revision. When I ended up getting this, was landing much more centered as opposed to, challenging that rough. We're going to very safely just put it out into the fairway here with some curl, very little top spin. You can see there's no point of bringing extra mile to this hole unless you were, of course, you can, go down this way. You might be able to even get it to, especially if you put it on an earth ball, a nice well-played shot, especially with Apocalypse. This guy could potentially get it down to short iron. Now, what I would recommend if you were doing this, go full. There was no amount of power that he was going to run out of fairway. So, there was no real threat of still going. You can see he landed about 20 yards short there, and you can see he rolled through the rough. So one of the things that I do is I put right spin and a little bit of curl to get it more centered back into the fairway. But you can see we're going to have a very straightforward wind, and arguably just as easy as a shot as him. In fact, why don't I just go at this for another alternate method here. We're going to try to visualize about 5 rings down here, and we're going to try to play this rough bump for you guys. So let me assume that that's going to be the target line, and I'm just going to try to visualize that, 5 rings down, and I'm just trying to get the angle set, kind of like in here, and we're just going to go for it like this, hopping it off the rough. And what I like about this shot is it comes in very consistent. When you actually do this shot, it comes in, it doesn't take any awkward, weird hops. And if you get it one line just right, it's just going to slam the pin and be nothing but cups. So you need very little top spin. You can see there was one. It was more than enough. I could have just, played an extra ring, for example, and it might have been perfect if I would have just took off 1 ring from where I was aimed. Keep in mind that I wasn't into power, so you need to go at least, maybe 5.5 per rings, 5.5 rings for a 5, or 5.2, whatever it was. You need to go just a little bit of a micro over adjustment. And keep in mind, if you do go to this fairway, that you're going to have an angled second shot. So it's kind of like, well, do I have a better chance to make it with my long iron with an angle or with a wood straight downwind? So, and trying to determine which one's going to be more likely, it's going to be kind of either way. So that's why you don't even really showing you that other method, because I think there's 2 methods, as you can see. I did 2 different methods for you guys on hole 5, and both are going to give you, killer opportunities. Now, the one thing I can suggest, if you are going to do that second way that I just tried to do there, maybe use just a little bit more of a power ball than I did. Otherwise, you're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive to the rough's edge. So, And if you bring the rough into play, you might take yourself out of that albatross completely and have to scramble for some eagles. So keeping it a little bit shorter has its advantages. But if you're going to keep it shorter like I just did, it would have been much easier with a Titan ball or even a Kingmaker. So, especially if you're winning tournaments or, getting yourself always top 10s, then I'm assuming, you're getting at least a decent Kingmaker inventory. You don't really need them a lot for tour play. And you can just kind of utilize them for the tournaments. That would be a perfect opportunity of where, especially on the weekend round, you're going to see me switch to Kingmakers for that hole for the weekend round, because it's going to just give me that little bit of extra that I don't play, and not to mention I won't have to go into power for that second if I do that rough bump shot. So keep both of those methods in the back of your head, and I think you'll have great success with that hole either way you choose. I'm going to suggest that you just don't go for the bomber drive, just because of getting it into that side wind. But like I said, if you can get it down to a short iron range, that might be the only instance where I'd rather have the side wind would be with a short iron, because I'm a little bit more deadly with a short iron than a sniper. So, but like I said, all things considered, with a dead straight wind, I'm going to be within a cup every time with a sniper anyway. All I got to do is hit perfect ball. So keep that in mind. Good luck there, guys. I'll see you guys for hole 6.